in the books. A great win for the Mavs over a contender, over a rival. 116 to 105 is the final as we welcome you to Mavs Center Court, presented by Legacy Precious Metals. Dana Larson along with Nancy Lieberman and Devin Harris. And what a ride is all I can continue to say in my head. The highs and the lows of the last couple of hours here. Devin, it's a lot to process. What do you have?
Well, let's start with the highs.
Yes.
Okay. You know, perfect start by Anthony Davis. I mean, you couldn't get off to a better start. I feel like this first 5 minutes, we saw the full arsenal of what he can bring, offensively, defensively, the energy. I think he, juvenilizes this home crowd, and he was just awesome. There's no other way to put, how he got the game started. And offensively, I felt like they played through him. We got to see a small sample of what this could look like at the 4, and not just the scoring. I mean, the passing, the defense, the rebounding, everything was at his hand. But obviously, this team has dealt with a little bit of this all season long. We see another 2 starters kind of leave the game, so that's always a concern for this team. But other guys picked them up, and we see guys with new trades come new opportunities. And I can speak to this more than anybody else. When you go to a new team and you get more opportunities, you got to seize that, and that's what Max Christie's doing right now.
Yeah, there's been so many great things about this game. So let me start with this. We've been talking about, defense. You have to play tough defense to be successful. I learned this early in my career. Offense sells tickets, defense and rebounding wins championships. This trade was made to bolster the defense. So you took a team like the Rockets, who are averaging 113 points a game. You hold them to 105. They shoot 40 from the field, 28 from 3. You force them into 8 turnovers, so you get somewhere around 13 points. Then 18 block shots, which is unbelievable.
Insane.
So everything you had hoped for, you got. And then you got the young players that were just playing so hard, even when PJ and AD went out. And again, in the second half, the battle was defensively, and this Mavericks team, with the young players like Christie, with what Kyrie Irving did in the second half, he understood, that he had to carry some of the load. Everybody added something to this win, but it stopped and started. AD started it with defense, and it was ended with defense with all 5 on the floor.
And I'd like to relive the way this game started, because obviously there's been so much emotion this week and so much of it building into the moment here that he would step onto the floor in a Mavs uniform for the first time. And here's what he gives you after that. What a reward. 26 points, the second most in a Mavs debut. And that was so much of this in the first half. That doesn't even tell you the story. The 16 rebounds, most in a Mavs debut. It was 24 points in the first half, 13 of those rebounds in the first half. It was a first half like we have literally never seen before when you add in his assists and his blocks in the play-by-play era. And it just had this place on its feet, electrified, and he was just loving it and living it and giving it right back to the fans as well.
Yeah, you said it. He's spoken into existence. He's going to give these fans something to cheer about. He did that in the first half with the way he started this game. Like I said, just a full arsenal of what he's able to do on the floor. And the first 5 minutes were dynamic. I think it carried over to everybody in that first half and really got this place jumping from the start. And that's the kind of when you want to come into a new situation, that's how you announce yourself. And he announced himself to the fans after that first time out too. So you got to give kudos to going to the press conference, explaining and understanding what he needs to do and going out there and delivering, especially in that first half.
For me, it was intentional how this game started. Make sure that Anthony gets involved, is able to find his shots. Again, for me, he's a 5-tool player. He can shoot from 3. He can put it on the floor. He can pass. He can defend. There's nothing that he cannot do. He goes out of the game, and then, guys like Max Christie has 13 points in the second half. And then Kyrie has 11 points in the second half. And everybody, it's not one person, it's a collective. Right? It's called collaboration for a reason. This Mavericks team collaborated both offensively, defensively. This is a big win for them.
was a huge win for them. And for Houston now, their 6th loss in a row. And so that's one of those teams that's up there at the top of the West standings that you are trying to chase down. It was their first win against them of the season. There's still one to go. So things looking good in that regard. monumental times right now for this Mavs team to regain some control of where they are heading into the All-Star break. And Anthony Davis, don't know obviously anything about his health at this point, but to see what he brings on the defensive end and to see the tenacity with which he plays when he is crashing the boards or altering shots or blocking shots, to see it in person night in and night out is going to be something special.
Yeah, we talked about it in the pregame, his ability to guard the yard one-on-one. And I think a big difference you're going to see is on the weak side. So when he's playing for, and they've got the pick and roll involved with the 5 guy, he's on the weak side. So you got another shot blocker that can clean up in case you make a mistake on the weak side in the pick and roll. So, see a lot of fear there of guys, where before there was easy layups, where, that's no longer the case. And from a rebounding standpoint, he's controlling the boards. And you got Gaff freeing up for shot blocks as well. 18, shot blocks is for a team is insane. I mean, we were happy about, I think, 8 or 9 early in the season, but when you can get to 20 blocks in a game, you're playing some real defense.
And not only the 20 blocks, but think about it. When Houston went big, and they did this purposely in the second half, they had Sengun, they had Steven Adams. That's a very physical lineup, what they have. But the defense, you stay down. You talked about the length of Anthony Davis. Here comes the rotation, Clay, quick hands. It gets you into your offense. One more time, Anthony Davis is so good about being the second guy off the floor. For a shot blocker, that is the key. Never be the first guy up. Look at the quick hands right here. But what I loved in the second half, Gafford doesn't get enough credit for just being a dog on defense and playing. Anthony started it, and in the second half, think about this. Najee played against Steven Adams and Sengun. Dinwiddie played against them. Gafford did that. Everybody played their role to the best of their ability. So we're learning about this team. We're learning how versatile they are, and anybody can step in at any position. So I guess it is a positionless team.
Well, that's how they've been built, and the depth is one of those strengths of this team that they've had to rely on because they've just simply never all been able to play and stay healthy. So next guy up has been the mentality they've had to continue to embrace all year long. And you've got we heard Spencer Dinwiddie say, we don't even have any time to sit around and be mad about anything that's happening because we're so busy just trying to figure out what my next assignment is, what my next role is going to be, and what the next thing I might be asked to do is. And each night, different guys are able to come through and perform.
That's a depth that you talked about, and the ability to have that depth when it's been tested throughout this season time and time again. You got guys that come off the bench and give you maximum effort and pick up, where AD kind of left off. I mean, we saw, the lead dwindle really quickly in that third quarter, and they could have let go. They could have let that overtake them, but no, they stuck to it. They stuck to the game plan, and guys played their role. And obviously with AD going out, there's more opportunity out there, and guys are taking advantage of that. Max Christie, I thought he was great, making big shots, and PJ Washington, he goes down, other guys step up, but this guy's continued to play well and understanding that he's going to be dependent on night in and night out. He's not just a throw into this trade. He's a young guy that understands how to play. He's played in big games. He's played with superstars, and now he's learning how to make big shots, and he's going to have these opportunities because, with these guys out, Kai's going to see more attention. And on the weak side, there's going to be open shots to take, and he's taking them with confidence, and he's enjoying the moment. He's having fun with it, and he's about to turn 22. This is the best time of his life right now, and he's, he's like, hey, this is my first home game. I'm just going to keep this thing rolling.
Well, it is rolling. I can tell you right now, when you're a player and you have to stand up and be accounted for and be a great teammate. I never call the bench. I call it the second unit because they're very important to the whole picture of the team. But then when you're making these trades and you're looking how to make your team better, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. There's a lot of second guessing that comes with it, but you have to be strong. Sometimes it's lonely being strong in your decisions that you make as a parent, as a GM, as an owner. It happens.
Well now, ain't this a tough break for the Dallas Mavericks? They finally got a taste of what Anthony Davis could bring to the table, and just like that, bam, he's sidelined. Reports say he could be out for weeks, maybe even a full month, after tweaking that left Achilles. Not the kind of news Mavs fans wanted to hear. Davis was part of that blockbuster trade last Sunday, bringing him over from the Lakers to team up with Luka Doncic and Big D. Folks were excited to see what this duo could do together, and Davis didn't disappoint in his debut. Against the Houston Rockets, he racked up 26 points, 16 boards, 7 assists, and 3 blocks, all in just 31 minutes. Shot 10 of 18 from the field, looking every bit the all-star he's always been. But then, late in the third quarter, something went wrong. No contact, no big collision. Just Davis pulling up hurt, and the whole arena holding its breath. After the game, he tried to downplay it, telling reporters he was pretty sure it wasn't anything serious. But now, he's already been ruled out for the Mavericks' next matchup against the Kings, and there's no clear timeline for his return. At 31 years old and in his 13th NBA season, Davis has been through his share of injuries. Still, when he's on the floor, he's a game changer, averaging 25.7 points, 12 rebounds, 3.4 assists, and 2.2 blocks a night. A 10-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA selection, and one of the best big men in the league when healthy. For the Mavericks, this ain't just a minor setback. Sitting at 28-25 and clinging to 8th place in the Western Conference, they gotta climb up to at least 6th if they want to avoid that play-in tournament. And without Davis, that's a tall order. Luka can carry a team, no doubt, but he ain't got a whole lot of help inside the paint without AD in the mix. Can they hold the line until he's back? Or is this the kind of setback that derails a season? Now, here's a thought for y'all. If Davis can't stay on the court consistently, was this trade really worth it for the Mavericks? Or did they gamble too much on a superstar with a history of injuries?